Right. Thank you very much. Alan Brown, please.
Thanks, Chair. For start with yourself, Tina, so the Chancellor's brought in the energy bill discount scheme from April, and he said that would stop businesses facing a cliff edge that provides a transition. But the reality is it's 0.7p discount per unit of gas, 0.2p unit of electricity discount, and the FSB described these levels of support as totally insignificant for small businesses. So what does that support look like for a typical small business, and what's the effect? Does it remove the cliff edge or not this April for small businesses?
No, it's absolutely pitiful, and we were clear about that in our messaging and clear about that to government as well. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses tied into fixed prices over the period of, let's say, August, September last year. And so they were tying into prices usually around 75, 80 pence, which if you had the fixed support from the government, then it wasn't an issue because the price per kilowatt was capped. Now that that's taken away and we have a few pennies over 30p that will be discounted, if you're sitting in a contract you can't get out of for the next 2 years at 75, 80 pence, then quite quickly that couple of pennies over 30p on a discount isn't really going to do much at all to help you. And that's the point where a lot of businesses actually still haven't even realised what's about to hit them with those bills that are coming in April, May, June, and we're quite worried about that cliff edge when those bills hit, what's going to happen. Now, we do know that wholesale prices have gone down, and that's something that people have said, well, is there anything to worry about if the wholesale prices have gone down? But yes, on the one hand, we have these people fixed into these really high contracted prices, but on the other hand, looking around the world at the moment with the geopolitical situation we've got, we feel like we're maybe gambling a little bit early on stability and low wholesale prices, and that's what we're quite concerned about. Any other global move and there's several things going on around the world, could absolutely affect that wholesale price, and businesses are in real trouble again.
Okay, so what reforms, if any, to the energy bills discount scheme would you like to see, given what you've said that it's pitiful at the moment? So what reforms would you like to see?
We would have liked to have seen the government ring fence and help the most vulnerable of businesses, and that is the smallest micro businesses, which in a sense are like domestic users, and domestic users are still protected, domestic consumers. So some of those micro businesses that are so vulnerable and have no cash reserves, we would have liked them to have given them a bit more of a landing zone, a bit more time. We as a country have spent billions supporting businesses to stay open through COVID. And it would be just, it doesn't make sound economic sense to let them go and disappear now with energy prices and with them being tied into such high-priced contracts. So for us, it's not good economics. It doesn't make sense. If we'd have ring-fenced some of the smallest, most vulnerable businesses, and they are, by the way, in the country, some of the businesses that are actually high-energy users, like your pubs, sunbed shops and butcher shops, and the list goes on. Some of our smallest businesses that are so important to the local communities use a lot of energy.
Do your members echo the thoughts that Tina just shared there?
Absolutely. I think you had, from our members, around 3/4 of them were renewing energy contracts ahead of October, so they were locking in to try and get a contract. They were having to pay very high security deposits, as Stephen has said, in order to just secure a contract, not even to look at changing, but just to secure a contract. And so you've got lots of businesses that are locked in at very high rates, that were locked in over the summer, who, when they come out of contract or when we move away from the support, they're not going to see it drop as significantly in terms of price. And then on top of that, over and above the sort of level of commodity price, which is regulated, you've got non-commodity charges, which are making up an increasing part of the bill, and meaning that customers are still facing a significant high retail charge for them. So we're estimating that for our members across the board, the average price increase is going to be around 85% when we come out of support in April, because of the level of the cap that Tina's talked about and the very low level of support. And then you've still got members who are still facing 150, 200% increases in price as we go through that. So we're not seeing the suppliers passing on the drop in wholesale price, and we're also seeing large numbers of members who are contracted in and are not coming up for renewal for quite a period of time.
Okay, so after spending 18 billion in the Energy Bills Relief Scheme, is basically the government just paying that money to stay that just delayed an inevitable collapse of some businesses unless there's massive reform?
Well, the scheme that was put in place undoubtedly saved many thousands of jobs and businesses in our sector that would have otherwise gone to the wall because of the situation we were facing with energy. And it's energy that is the game changer in our sector. We're a viable, vibrant sector of the economy. We're the third largest employer. We generate a revenue of around 130 billion and a 40 billion pound tax take for the Exchequer. So we're a hugely important part of the economy. And when we fire on all cylinders, the economy starts to grow and we recover. So it's undoubtedly the case that that scheme was vital to get businesses through. I think the cliff edge has been shaved off slightly and the sort of drop has been filled in, but for many businesses they will still see a significant increase in costs because of the introduction of a cap and the very low level of support that we're seeing from April. So we would have preferred to see the approach that was previously being talked about, where vulnerable sectors and hospitality was name-checked,